Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you
welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss.
Look who's starting it all off. It's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
What a nice roll through from Peyton. It's just going to solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back, and Arsario gets the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for RRG right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters here.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKT, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're going to be able to find these shots true.
Idu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an athlete immediately goes back like fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3, so back and forth.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Oh no. Alright, welcome back everybody. Back to CGL Season 14. Week number 6 continues here in, I believe, if I'm not an insane person, it is the GM tier in North America. Yeah. We've got RRG Varsity versus Effortless Academy. Megalas, you ready to get this one rolling?
Absolutely. You know, you have two teams who may be a little bit worse for wear on the season here, but hey, listen, you know, that's in the past right now. Technically speaking, no mathematical eliminations have occurred just yet here, but, you know, for both these squads, a win is nice, but on the side of Effortless, I'm just going to be real. It's kind of mandatory if you want that postseason.
Yeah, so Effortless is 1-4 right now, and unfortunately that one win comes off of a bye week. So it's been a rough season to say the least for them so far. On the other side, RRG, I believe they're sitting at 2-3.
Yep.
Something like that. So they're faring a little bit better. Not in like any top tier echelon type stuff just yet from either of these teams, but you know, there's still a little bit of time left in the season. 3 weeks to go now. Should be an interesting matchup here. I guess we'll see which of these, you know, mid tiers is going to be able to jump up a little bit.
Exactly, that's going to be the case. You know, if you're looking at the groups, I think they're 5 and 7 respectively. They both need to get into that top 4 if they want to see the postseason, but it really just depends on how they've been playing, right? You know, with the broad side of CGL, it's hard to get, you know, a focus down on each and every team, but we can just acknowledge the facts right now, right? Orisa meta, very strong, very powerful. Juno, despite some nerfs coming into the new season of Overwatch, very strong, very powerful. As well as some nerfs to some dive maps have really just sort of made it where Brawl is possible everywhere. So, you know, looking into this match, I feel like that's going to be a lot of what you see as, you know, teams dive. It requires such a higher level of coordination and, you know, synergy with the team, where something like a Brawl, the Orisa, all that fun stuff, it sort of just comes naturally, right? Everybody's just cooking cooldowns.
And you know, you talk about the meta, right? And obviously Orisa is very, very powerful right now with that Juno to support her. This is the GM tier, right? This isn't like the money tiers, right? These players are playing what they're comfortable with for the most part. Like, sure, they might be, you know, meta teams that, you know, play what is theoretically the best, but you don't have to succeed at you know, at this level, right? It's an interesting thought, right? Because you don't see, you know, the open tier teams, most of them are playing Orisa or some variation of that comp. But in the lower tiers, you'll see a lot of Junker Queen, a lot of Wrecking Ball, Diva, Reinhardt, whatever the hell they want to play. It's a very, very interesting. That's what kind of why we like highlighting, you know, not just the open tier teams, right? Because there is a little bit more comp variety, a little bit more competition variety. But now as we get ready to head in, let's get a look at our teams that are going to be playing here tonight, Megalast. First up, we got RRG. Yeah.
Yeah, RRG looking solid, looking dependable.
Okay, Piercing, Nonag on the DPS, Mac on the tank, Nene and Waterbug in that back line. That's a very interesting looking Juno right there. Not exactly. Did she like have a glow up, or like did she do her hair?
They're preparing for that the new stuff on the director's take today, where there's gonna be like a 3-2-1 gate like comp set up, so you can run the triple DPS again. They're just simply prepping for that. That's all.
Okay. Well, even when that comes out, I don't think that's gonna be very good. But what could be is our opposite team here, Effortless Academy on the other side of RRG. Get a look at them really quickly. We've got Phage Void and Voltage on the DPS, Angelo Lagusa on the tank, and Hobbs and Solaire in the back line. You know, a bit of a rough start to the season, but, you know, RRG is not at the top of the group, so they could potentially make some noise here tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, just, you know, if we're talking about aura and things like that, a name like Angelo Lagusa, like, I don't know, there's definitely some power levels there that need to be sort of checked. But, you know, something else about this Effortless Academy roster, in comparison to a lot of the other rosters here in CGL, it is just these 5 players. There's not, you know, a sub waiting in the wings to come in. There's not, you know, somebody else that's out there waiting for their chance. So this could be a nice little show of like synergy, right? The longer that this team plays, they're going to have to get synergistically better. It's their only sort of option, right? You can't get worse the longer you play as a team, right? I mean, I suppose you could, but it's very, very unlikely. And when you just have that sort of locked in same composition, same mentality, who knows? Eventually you'll finally, you know, find some momentum and get something going.
Yeah, eventually, you know, maybe they're like Saiyans, you know, near-death experiences only make them stronger. They might be, you know, showing up here late in the season, and hey, you know what? There's no real better time to get hot than late in the season. But now as we get a look at our map pool, first map going to be Busan, and I guess we're not gonna get a look at the map pool. We're gonna head right into the map, but it's Busan downtown to start us off here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I went to try to go look at what our map pool was because I realized I didn't know it off the top of my head here in week 6. Because you know, CGL regular season, these maps are preset, predetermined. No picking of any kind is occurring here. But so yeah, Busan I think is gonna be very, very interesting because it's one of the few maps where across all 3 control points, you do have to run different compositions, right? You can't sort of one-trick your way through like RRG are about to try to do, where you see them hovering the Orisa comp on, you know, what is considered the dive map of downtown here. Meanwhile, Effortless Academy fully leaning into that dive, and we're gonna have to see, you know, if this Widow can connect with those heads like they want to.
All right, well, interestingly, on the other side, Nene is on a Zenyatta. Oh my god! Phage Void instantly starting out ripping Nonag's head off and just absolutely free shooting right now like they're clay pigeons over there.
Yeah, and so it is just shot after shot. It's the space also being created, right? Because now you're seeing Angelo push forward on this diva, just ready to do as they please. Piercing, you know, while low, is just going to concede this space, but somebody does have to get over to the point.
Yeah, so it'll be Effortless grabbing the first flip here early as the respawns come through for RRG. A little bit of time lost as Nonag wants to go on a quick flank deflect, popped very, very quickly there, so not going to have that for a moment. Now the dive going to start on the other side as Piercing tries to find something going, but hey, look at the kill feed. It's Phage one more time, 2 kills in this series so far, and now 3, but you know, pretty good amount of them are theirs.
Yeah, absolutely here. So it's really going well for Effortless right now, and this is what we were talking about, right? I mean, the fact that they are able to get these limbs, get these picks, even when they're getting dashed on like this, though.
Wait a minute, they're absolutely getting dashed on. The Transcendence out from Nene absolutely did not want Nonag to go down, but the flip will come through. And where did that Met go?
that might be something that we were wondering for a while here. I mean, that was such a risky transcendence, right, from Nene, but willing to invest, willing to trust in Nonag to turn the tide of that fight here. Now with control of the point, RRG, they're going to try to, you know, maybe curb this aggression a little bit, right? Try to put the Pharah a little bit more in check here, and give Mac maybe those opportunities to hit the shots to get them out of the sky.
All right. Nonag is found out there, followed up on there by Angelo as Voltage called that one out, but the dive gonna come through as Angelo continues to hold down the boosters, trying to find this Juno in the backline, and they're gonna lose the 1v1 to Waterbug. Eventually will take down the Juno, but the damage has already been done.
Yeah, I mean, Mac is just hitting shot after shot on this Ashe right now in the cleanup. But what's really great for RRG is not having to invest anything to win that fight out. Granted, not really investments happening on either side here. You're heading towards a heavy ult engage, so you're going to be probably looking towards your DPS to be the high impact players, whether it's this Dragon Blade or the Barrage from Voltage. Either one's really going to be the defining factor.
All right, waiting to see what the side of Effortless will do. Solaire took a lot of damage. You see up in the top right, very, very low. Knocked down to the point is Nene on the Zen, but able to escape with their life. Self-destruct in from Angelo. Unfortunately, will not find a target there, but they didn't pop damn near any of those ultimates that they had.
Yeah, so now, I mean, you're in a situation where you're not even going to get to, right? You're already checked up to 93%. Nobody's really going to be in position to get a last-minute touch here. Matt goes off the map. I think that's more celebration than anything else. And yeah, just RRG gets to walk away with that one while Effortless holds their ults for the next round, I guess.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It was last fight territory, right? You needed to throw something in there. Like, even if it didn't stick, at least you would have tried, but nothing comes through for Effortless there, and RRG gonna be switching it up here over to the Reinhardt potentially, but I don't know if that'll stick, but I think Nonag might stay on this Reaper.
I mean, hey, listen, it's, you know, could technically be Reaper Friday in some time zones in the world, so who knows, maybe Nonag is residing in one of those time zones, but it seems like the Reinhardt is real. It's going to be difficult to keep our favorite Crusader alive with this Juno Zen backline here. Probably going to be a constant orb applied. I mean, but with that being said, Effortless, they're just sticking with what they know, except they've now adapted to have a Zen of their own to try to do this damage.
All right, Mac on the off angle. I'm going to try and put a little bit of damage into the side of Phage. For a moment, they're just going to back down as Will Angelo just booking it back to that back line there. A little bit of uncertainty as they try to find a way in, but RRG has their feet firmly planted on the point. Nene all alone, and you can see Voltage like, hey guys, come over here. Look, there's free candy on the floor, and the Zenyatta just trying to live, trying to get into spawn, but will not happen. And even with the first flip coming through for RRG, Nene gets caught out, and this should be Effortless walking in here taking this point back.
It should be. Granted, their point pressure has been a little bit lacking here. Like, they're just now getting onto it after they get the team kill. Which, I mean, hey, listen, you want to secure those kills. I get that, but it doesn't hurt to send just one person over to that objective in these situations just to get that point flip going. Nonag gonna now get off of the Reaper over to the Widowmaker here, maybe trying to take advantage of some sight lines. Put a little bit of pressure. Ooh, the Juno head was visible for a moment, but only that moment.
I was stressing for sure. See the wings, but Voltage is going to be able to take down and knows where this Widow is at, too. For Voltage here, as Effortless Academy are going to take one more fight.
And I think the Pharah, it's such a good pick, right? Because you'd be like, oh, they have double hit scan. It must be so rough. If you play Pharah in a passive way where you're going on the correct angles, not peeking these sight lines, right? It's going to make the hit scan's life a living hell, right? They're going to be distracted, looking other places, trying to do their damage, get their picks. And meanwhile, you just set up, find a place to connect those rockets, and get these picks that you're looking for.
All right, back in here, but Hobbs had the orbital ray, does not get a chance to use it. And unfortunately, as Angelo comes down from the roof of the pagoda, not going to find anything with that self-destruct. And Flip going to belong here to RRG.
So now back in control here. After investing in the Transcendence, they are going to have a Shatter to work with, but nothing else quite yet. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Effortless are using Orbital Ray.
They also used the Shatter. I don't think it found anybody. Like, I saw them inting up into the spawn of Effortless, but now with the pick on to Piercing, this is going to be a very, very stressful fight for Effortless, or rather RRG without their Reinhardt. This should be a flip for Effortless.
Yeah, as long as the imprecise don't go too hard.
I mean, they just come in and it's not going to be enough as RRG surpasses the percentage of Effortless, and they're going to hold on somehow.
And now the Wine's just pinning it. I feel like Piercing has made a mistake.
I'm speechless, right? Don't do it again, Piercing!
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Okay. Alright,
Teabagging your own Zen.
yeah. So now without Nene, that's a lot of damage gone, and Piercing will end up falling there. And now Tactical Visor in from Mac. It's going to help to take down Solaire and Phage. Flip will belong to Effortless, though, as they get rid of the people in their backline.
I mean, it feels as though RRG lost that one more than Effortless won, but regardless, pushing ahead here, the only ult RRG is going to have to work with is this Transcendence from Nene. Meanwhile, Effortless, they have both DPS ults to work with heading into this fight, right? A well-placed Bob or this Barrage getting a pick or two can seal their fate and give them the round.
All right, point pressure in there from Piercing as the shots continue to rain in from Nonag, and Bob comes in from Phage, and it has to be good because two are already dead, and unfortunately, Rocket Barrage popped, but Voltage Helix Rocket, and this should be, wait, surely not, right? Surely right. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it was an interesting map to be sure, but RRG comes out on top, and I really don't know what to think right now.
It's so odd, right? Because it feels like Effortless is doing the correct things on paper, but it's like they're giving far too much respect to RRG in this situation, and it's causing this sort of weird effect where, despite RRG playing worse, making mistakes like we saw with those over-aggressive pins and things of that nature, that they are still getting rewarded and, you know, getting point percentage and things of that nature, when it feels like Effortless Academy is just playing the better game here. So I don't really know if there's a on-paper way to fix that or adjust, but right now, I mean, RRG is just a team.
I think it's something that you said earlier in the map. The point pressure isn't there. Like, there was so much free time gained from RRG because Effortless was chasing down kills as a 5-man unit. I'm not saying that would have changed the results of the map, but I think it would have given them a bigger advantage. And it's really not something that you think about very often, right? You win a fight, you go cap the point. There's really, you know, not much more needed to think about than that. But it's a conscious decision that you make as a team to say, hey, we've basically won this fight. I'm going to send someone over the point, and we're going to put some pressure on it, see if we can't, you know, at the very least, flip it. Maybe force them to come back to us if they want to continue to milk the time. But that pressure wasn't there from Effortless, and despite the, you know, the big picks coming through, they continued to chase more and more picks. And for one, it didn't allow them to cap the point, and two, it got them picked.
Yeah, I like RRG. They're just sort of it's aggression to a fault, right? Like, we've seen teams who are aggressive, but this is literally just like foolhardy levels of aggression where you're just doing what would be seen as objectively bad plays, but you're not getting punished for it. So it does go onto the side of Effortless, right? Where they have to be the ones to respond. They have to be the ones to start shutting this down and making RRG take this match a little bit more seriously. Because right now, they're just playing with house money.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't know what else to say. I think you covered it perfectly there. I mean, these are very easy things to fix, right? If you're thinking about them, you're already going to be better, right? But it kind of feels like Effortless isn't. But now, as we head into Eichenwald, I don't know if we're going to see a lot of the same. It's not going to be the same, you know, team at the very least. I believe RRG has a sub coming in for, I believe, Waterbug, if I'm not mistaken. So they're bringing in another support, I think. I didn't quite hear who the sub was. It's Kuzer coming in for Waterbug. So this will be interesting. And man, I'm at a loss right now. That was such a strange first map.
Yeah, absolutely strange is the way to put it here. Waterbug.
Like, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad by any means here. Now, Piercing and Mac, a little bit of a kerfuffle. I think Mac is officially on DPS now, even though they were playing DPS last time. I think there was just a bit of a miscommunication there in the lobby. But yeah, I mean, we will just have to sort of wait and see. Maybe Waterbug was just playing the game a little bit too serious. Everybody else was having fun. They were like, "What's this? A meta character? We can't be having this right now." So RRG sent them to the benches and are bringing in Kuzer. But for Eichenwald, this could mean a myriad of strategies, right? This is sort of a map that it's had its niche meta points, right, where it's got its own thing going on. You see a lot of brawl, potentially even some poke on first point. Then as you value the high ground to second, you see more dive and things like that come through, ultimately going back to brawl in that third point once you're inside of the castle, a little bit more of those narrow corridors. So again, it's a map where you have to be flexible across all points, just very similarly to Busan.
Yeah. So we're getting ready to head in here pretty soon, and I'm just hoping for a tighter game, like because theoretically that map was very, very close, right? It was a very, very even fight when it comes to mechanics, right? It's Effortless proved in that map, to me at the very least, that they're not like, even if they haven't technically won a game yet, right? They're not like bad. They're not bad players, but it kind of, what it felt like was less of, it's a problem we see in a lot of other teams. It's less they're playing as one team, but 5 individuals. They're just kind of playing like they're playing ranked, right? And that can work in ranked. Like, obviously a little team play helps in ranked. But team play helps a lot in team play, believe it or not. Crazy, I know. But now as we head into Eichenwald, that's what I want to see. I want to see a little bit more cohesion. Like, it doesn't need to be anything insane. They just need to, listen to each other, talk. Because it kind of felt like, even if we're not listening to the comms, I felt like we were listening to the comms.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. One thing they could talk about is the fact that, nerd glasses, nerd emoji, this is not Eichenwald, this is Aldersbrunn, or whatever the heck the lore name is.
Adlersbrunn?
Yeah,
I think the D comes first.
Listen, this is why I speak English. But, speaking of things that should not be spoken of, RRG is pushing the spawn doors with a Bastion Symmetra Roadhog. Are they going to be aware that these players are here? Did they hear the teleport on the side of Effortless? And can the Pharaoh be ready to punish?
Okay. Big questions to ask here. Do they expect it? They don't expect it. They don't expect anything. Wait, they do or was that a hook to pull Angelo in? Okay, so now they know. There is a Roadhog behind them, a Bastion as well. You gotta put those hands up, Angelo. Wait, Angelo kills Mac? Mac goes down, but that should be enough. Hey, there's the point pressure we were begging for.
I mean, yeah, smart from Effortless, right? They just sort of run past. They were like, okay, y'all want to play on our spawn? That's fine. We're going to go towards the objective here. So now it is just 2 lone defenders, the Roadhog and Juno, trying to make something happen, but they can't do it.
Kuzer falls, and Piercing only got so much of that self-healing to keep them up as the point comes through from Effortless, and Piercing goes down, and we'll begin B, and it's just like this series for this map to start like that, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, this is what we asked for from Effortless, right?
Yeah.
Apply more point pressure, acknowledge what RRG is doing, and don't let their silliness, fool you and do as it pleases. So absolutely stellar play from them right now, getting that first point unlocked. But, RRG, they've still got more tricks up their sleeve. They're still on this Bastion. They still have the Roadhog in play. You just got to be careful and mindful of yourself.
A little bit of pressure on the point from Nonag as we're going to see the Roadhog dive. Solaire needs a little bit of help as the barrage comes through and Piercing goes down again. A little bit of overextension and, hey, Effortless are very happy with that.
Exactly, and you're seeing this defense matrix be everywhere at once!
Yeah, not going to quite go off the map there, but it's going to more than be enough to win out that fight and keep the point rolling.
I was gonna say, the reason I hyped it up that much, that ledge wasn't, I thought it wasn't there in the Halloween version of this map, but apparently it is. Whether they're aware Mac is still alive behind them, or whether they care or not is going to be the real question here. Piercing over to the Reinhardt now, but, it seems like the momentum's completely in Effortless' favor right now. I feel like it's gonna be hard for RRG to fight back.
I mean, the two are already dead, and it doesn't even matter if Mac is behind them, because everybody else has been eviscerated already, and if Mac is in the back line, there's nobody to touch the point.
Yeah, and so now this Bastion is ultimately just staggered way too far in the back line to do anything. Angelo, very good on this D.Va right now. The defense matrix being applied any and everywhere that this damage is trying to come through. So now, yeah, they're going through, they're finding the Bastion once again here, even though the Ryan wanted to save him.
Yeah, I mean, Mac just goes down so quickly because that time they definitely knew they're going to drop the orbital ray. Okay, they're going to go back in with the orbital ray, and Effortless are respecting that heavily right now, just staying out in the main alleyway.
I mean, just give respect to it and then re-engage with your own ultimates as you're seeing here with their own orbital ray pushing in. Okay,
well, the Captive Sun also came out. Not gonna find a target with it just yet. Now, Deadeye, okay, they're gonna finally explode Phage with that Captive Sun, and for the first time in this map so far, I mean, RRG are able to say, hey, we want to fight. Honestly.
The defense is finally starting to come together here. They have other tools to work with. Piercing wants to touch the spawn door so bad. Yeah, and look at this. The entirety of RRG, they're pushing up. They're wanting to refight second point.
Alright, Nonag is going to die here, so there's going to be something happening. Piercing has the Earth Shatter, but it's just going to explode in the backline. There will be an airstrike in there from Mac. Do they know where Mac is at? They do, but are they going to do anything about it? I don't know.
It's, the question of will Mac be dealt with as, again, this Bastion just gets to live in the backline. It seems rent-free as the payload is going to continue to push forward here. Another barrage online. As long as the defense matrix is there, it should be lethal.
But Mac is in the backline because, of course, Mac is in the backline. There you see the Earth Shatter. You'd think that a hammer that can pierce everything is going to be able to take down the Brig, but somehow in this cacophony of horrors, we saw a whiff on a swing. Like...
I mean, yeah, and the horror story is just going to keep on going for RRG here. Now they're dwindling members on their final corner of this defense. The barrage is getting everyone low.
Yeah, especially that shield, nothing to protect the Reinhardt any longer. And Nonag able to come back from spawn quickly and help out with the Pharah. And Mac may very well go down here, will end up dying. But the flank Deadeye going to be good for the mech and Angelo as well. Man.
It is an interesting thing to watch here as now Effortless. They're making a bit of a swap over to the Reaper now for voltage instead of the Spara. No more pressure from the skies, instead going to be there. I think this is a good tactic to try to help pressure out this Bastion, even pressure out Piercing, as you're seeing the Ryan shield so incredibly low already.
Alright, now we see Captive Sun in. Do they eat it? They don't, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a target that can be caught by the Captive Sun. Unfortunately, Phage is caught off on the far left. There's a Reaper there, and I don't know if Voltage had any cooldowns, but I know that they don't have a life right now. Oh my goodness.
And so now the Bastion setting back up on high ground, Piercing in the spawn doors once again. This aggressive defense on point 3 here from RRG is being circumvented as the Bastion's been found.
Angelo going to be able to escape death for a moment, but gonna be able to get right back into the mech, and they just forgot that the Reinhardt pinned into their backline, I suppose. But they're still being held in their spawn right now, as Piercing from the high ground going to pin right back in, and Effortless need to calm down and step back for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't had a proper reset in a moment here, and they're just going to continue pushing out of these spawn doors without a plan in mind, right? They're getting overwhelmed by RRG, who's playing this aggression so unbelievably well right now. So it is going to have to finally be some sort of regroup effort from Effortless here to get the momentum rolling back in their favor.
All right, Earth Shatter. That's the sentence. That's Earth Shatter with not a period, but 3 ellipses after it. Hobbs goes down, and Effortless continues to be held in their spawn as Nonag is just free shooting right now.
The free shots continue to rain here. It's something that we're going to have to just, you know, be aware of as this match keeps on progressing. Now, RRG, just again, they expend every ultimate, but it does not matter. At least for the time being, right? Effortless Academy, they have pretty much everything but the Diva Bomb good to go here, but somebody's got to connect with something!
I mean, they just can't dislodge this high ground hold right now. There's a fight in here and a rally versus a Reinhardt, and there's a pick. That's a very good... Okay, Captive Sun is in. They're going to be on the point with 20 seconds left. They're going to be able to clean up, get the trades onto the Junos there, and Nene should be falling here. And now Piercing returning from spawn. We'll see what that's gonna mean, because I haven't known anything yet.
Ledge, Max behind them. The Bastion is still behind them.
They
don't know.
The Bastion's behind them again. Okay, Voltage returns on the Venture. Phage going to pop the Deadeye, but Mac is behind. They turn around. They know they're gonna pop Nene, and the hubris of RRG has led to the full capture from Effortless, despite everything that they had just gone through. They managed to overcome. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know where to go from there. Like, I analysis, RRG held spawn for 3 minutes, and it didn't matter in the end.
I mean, but there was stuff happening before the spawn hold, right? Effortless got a huge head start on momentum. They started punishing RRG for the, you know, these silly choices, these silly mistakes. But then when it came to point 3, they lost that first defensive, or they lost that first, you know, fight. They actually had to reset and spawn, but they didn't properly reset, and then they didn't sort of have any synergy beyond that, right? They knew that there was oppressive pressure on the high ground, this Cassidy as well as the Bastion constantly raining damage in, but it seems like everybody was, again, they were just split doing their own thing, so it made their life that much harder. Now, you know, for the attack for RRG, potentially on the defense, Effortless can, you know, have a better effort of sort of reining in this aggression. Potentially the Mei slowing the game down could be the answer they're looking for, but you know, it's going to be hard. This RRG squad, it doesn't matter what heroes they're on, they just like to play fast.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, I've taken a breath. We'll see how this goes now as we head into the defense of Effortless Academy. They completed the map, so we'll see. Wall out, but Piercing is on top of it, and there is a Kiriko behind. Now it's RRG that's doing, or rather Effortless that's doing the silly shenanigans for the moment. A couple of shots into the Pharah there, and RRG are going to be able to grab this first point quickly.
Yep, very quick unlock here. And again, you know, you sort of wonder why that Kiriko is out of position, maybe trying to take a page out of RRG's book, but the issue is they wrote the book. They know exactly how that one works, and that's why Mac was there applying that pressure on the Torbjorn. Now, it is going to be all about this high ground control, right? Effortless, they have a much better comp to actually control and hold it. RRG, they would have to, you know, take the time, pass their Reinhardt up the stairs to really be able to take it with any meaningful value.
Here we go, one more time. Nonak from the high ground. We'll see what's going to happen here. A little bit of damage out onto Hobbs. The cleanse comes through, but the death does also. A little bit of pressure there. I mean, Mac is pretty low, was pretty low. But without Hobbs in this fight, it's going to be very, very difficult to take it. Phage, you know, on the Bastion, they're going to be able to get rid of the turret, but can they find anything else? Nonag with the Dragon Blade just about ready to go. The deflect going to come through. Nonag does end up falling there. Of course, Mac would have his hammer out, because why wouldn't he? 17 HP, going to get the healing coming through, but with Piercing going down, finally Effortless can take a breath for a moment.
Yeah, and again, it's about just being able to control this high ground. So sure, that Bastion was a little bit scary, but just being able to, you know, allow it to free fire from the low ground, do as it needed to, as well as some nicely placed Faro rockets, really enabled this defense. They're going to now have matching orbital rays here, but Nonag still with his Dragon Blade can come up clutch here when the attack needs it.
Dragon Blade is pulled. Hobbs goes down, cut in half by Nonag. We'll be able to get rid of Phage. 33 HP. Doesn't quite go off the map, but the healing from the orbital ray comes down. Mac is in the back line with a hammer. Does this venture, or not venture, but rather Juno know? And the answer is it doesn't matter because they're dead.
Head to a pin, and there's another pin.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be a point capture. That's the point capture from Piercing, or rather RRG, I suppose. As they're just continuing to hold W. They don't stop. Mac does end up going down, but now 5 minutes on the clock for the point C attack for RRG.
Yeah, I mean, right now, RRG, they currently have all the momentum. And again, it feels like Effortless are sort of losing themselves. Now over their support ults.
There's a Reinhardt that just lives in their backline. Great punish by Voltage, which is incredible, but they need to be able to sustain it. There are 2 picks coming through, but of course, hey, there's a DPS behind them because there always is. Okay, they found them. All right, Nonag gets caught out.
Yeah, as long as, and that's the thing, right? If RRG, you know, can start getting, again, it's all about this punishment, right? Effortless on their side, they have to start turning, looking for this. They just have to expect it at this point, right? They realize RRG is going to continue to play this aggressive, disrespectful play style, and they're just not ready for it.
Okay, there is a trade. Phage in trade of Nene, and Piercing gets taken down. So the hubris leading to another death for the Reinhardt, and Mac pulls out the hammer, but there is a Nano Diva on the field, and that is a very scary sight indeed, and Effortless will be able to stand above the water for a little bit longer.
Exactly, just more and more of the picks here, and you're seeing a very similar defensive hold, right? A fast take into point B, across point B into point C for the attackers here, but then they start to get stifled out a little bit. The defensive positioning comes a little bit more powerful here. The frying pan is just not what it's looking for, but the shatter could be.
Right, Orbital Ray is in, Dragon Blade pulled. That damage boost going to be very, very annoying, but they are not able to get close enough to find anything with it, and Voltage is able to drop Nonag early. Almost has the barrage here. Piercing very low, cannot choose which way that shield needs to point. And, I mean, Effortless are keeping themselves in this right now.
They absolutely are. With again, this defensive fight, they're just continuing to go in their favor. Now with another barrage loaded for Voltage, we've seen how much pressure that can apply to specifically Piercing, but the rest of the squad, right? It just makes everybody that much more fearful on their engage for RRG.
Here we go. Earth Shatter still in the hands of Piercing, but no shield to speak of. Building up soon. I mean, the Shatter comes down, and the Rocket Barrage, it has to be good. It's not, but I mean, they're able to keep themselves in this fight pretty comfortably. 2 picks for Phage, and the Hobbs will fall here, but this should still be a fight in the hands of Effortless.
Yeah, and just Nonag left alive here, going to be found out in these little back alleys of the castle here. Meanwhile, the Rhine just charging to point by themselves now has to rely on their Lucio trying to speed them out of harm's way. Piercing, it seems like, you know, Effortless has cracked the code here, finding ways to punish RRG.
Boosts are very, very low, able to stay alive for the moment. And Angelo really wanted that pick on Nene, who was also very, very low, building up closer and closer to this self-destruct one more time. Mac keeping into the backline. Did they see it? Do they know? The answer is it doesn't matter because they've already found 2 picks again. I mean, they need to dislodge Mac and Nonag, but like they're okay for right now.
They're okay for the time being to continue doing as they please here. This defense has been so unbelievably good for the side of Effortless, right? They've been able to start cycling these ults, find these people out of their backline, and get pick after pick in their favor here. So now, with another one on to Mac here, it means that there's just going to be more time eaten off the clock. And now, you know, what went from a potentially hopeless defense now means that we're, even if RRG managed to cap, we have to go into extra rounds for both teams.
Right now, a little over a minute on the clock here for RRG on their attack. Nonag been on the tracer for a little bit. We'll see what they can find here. As we see the sound barrier come down from Nene. 3 ultimates in the hands of Effortless, and the Nano will be applied to the Diva. Nonag walking up into the back line. They know where Hobbs is at. Not quite going to be able to dislodge Hobbs, but there will be trades of piercing for Angelo. So it is a raw fight between everybody but the tanks, and Hobbs throws that grenade at their feet, and Mac with the Death Blossom not going to find anything, but what will is Nonag pulse bomb piercing 98% to the Earth Shatter coming back from spawn. It is desperate touches come in late from RRG, or rather Effortless, but they need to find something. Mac does end up going down. Earth Shatter coming out, putting Angelo on their back. Need to stay in this fight as long as humanly possible. Getting D-Mac. They have a Rocket Barrage coming in. Sleep out onto the Reinhardt. Will they stay up? Will they stay in? Rocket Barrage is out. Kuzer is down, and 2 in the hands of Effortless Academy. But the trades continue to come through time after time after time. It is even on time now to the Reinhardt. Very, very low. Like 150 HP between 3 players for RRG right now. They need to get rid of Piercing if they want to hold on, and they do. Piercing falls. Now it's DPS as Effortless return from spawn. Pulse Bomb is out. 0.45 meters. Angelo falls here, but so does Nene. Nonag and Mac need to keep this going if RRG wants to cap. They get rid of Solaire, but Voltage comes back from spawn. Has those Hellfire shotguns and the Molten Core from the side of Phage. They get back on the point, but this Tracer very low, very dead, and Effortless Academy going to put the hurt on RRG, punishing their hubris, and they're going to even the score on map number 2.
And, you know, now RRG realizing, oh, wait, maybe we cannot troll as hard as we want to. They're going to have to take their opponent a little bit more seriously because, you know, after there was a stabilization effort on this defense and it came through prim and proper, they were able to do exactly what they wanted on this side of Effortless here, where they slowed the game down, played at their own pace, cycled their ultimates beautifully here, and established themselves in this match. And, you know, again, RRG, they didn't adapt. They just continued to try to run their silliness until the bitter end.
Man, I'm at a loss right now. Yeah, I mean, RRG came into that map treating Effortless like they are significantly worse. Like, they think that they have them outclassed in every single facet of the game, and they just don't, right? Like, they might be better. They might be like a better team overall. But if you're going to continue to be stupid, if you're going to continue to make these dumb plays that we see RRG making, touching the spawn door is not a recipe to success. I don't care how funny it is. Eventually, Effortless is going to learn. Like, they know. Like, it took them a while to figure it out, but they realize, hey, this Mac guy is living in our backline and we're not doing anything about it. How about we do something about it? And they did something about it.
Exactly. I mean, and it's just one of those things where that's how you separate these teams, right? It's just a matter of being able to adapt, not just in terms of hero picks, right? When people hear adaptation, that's the first thing they go to is, oh, you have to counter swap, things like that. No, adapt your play style, figure out what's going on in the match and change it up for the better here. Effortless has managed to do just that. RRG, meanwhile, it seems like their adaptation is severely lacking. Potentially after this nice little break that's coming up for them, they can figure something out that works for them a little bit better here. But, speaking of that break, we are going to throw to it right now. So go use the restroom, get yourself a little snack, because it seems like we have a series on our hand when we get back.
Memories.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Right now, it is an even 1-1 as Effortless Academy take Eichenwald. Now, moving into map number 3, it's gonna be Hanaoka. And the big question mark for me is, when does RRG start taking Effortless seriously? Because it really feels like they haven't, and they got punched in the mouth for it there on Eichenwald.
I feel like this is where you're gonna have to see them be a little bit more serious, right? Like this should be the moment on paper, but you know we will just have to see if that actually is the case. You know they have made some substitutions, some people switching around roles. Piercing, our favorite pinning Reinhardt, is unfortunately been sent to the bench, sent to Brazil, but you know. Maybe this will mean that serious switch up like you were talking about, because right now, I mean, Effortless, they've realized, hey, look, this isn't an unwinnable series for us. We can win this. We just have to, you know, go in and not let RRG play their game.
And sometimes that's what they need because, you know, Effortless, for all of what they've done this season, there hasn't been a whole lot of... man, I don't want to dig too deep into that hole of success, we'll say. And success breeds confidence. And now, as we head into map number 3, they have to be confident. Because RRG, you know, even if they were doing shenanigans and making weird, interesting plays, Effortless was able to adapt and overcome. And that's what I expect, right? I expect a team that, you know, there's only 5 of them. You said it before the series. This team, they have to play well together. And they played significantly more as a team on Eichenwald. And they learned and they adapted. They overcame the shenanigans, the lunacy of RRG. And they won the map, right? That is the first thing you have to do if you want to win a series. You have to win a map. And prior to this Eichenwald map, I believe they've only won 1 throughout the rest of this season. So they have already doubled their map win count. This has to be their moment to say, hey guys, we can really do this. We have to lock it in here, but we can do it.
Yeah, but I mean, on the other side of things, again, it's just going to be about how serious RRG, you know, are finally going to start taking them, right? Whether we're going to see this silly compositions continue to occur or what have you, you know, that's going to be the question here. But as we get a look, like we said, some substitutions coming in on their side. Our favorite Reinhardt is going to be MIA. We swapped Nene over to the tank role and brought Waterbug back in on that support line. So, you know, with that whole new support line, we, you know, technically for the 3rd time, right, we've been mixing and matching these pieces, but now Nene in a whole new role. We'll have to see if they can perform up against Angelo, who I think has been doing rather amazing, especially on the Diva, having that defense matrix placed in the right places at the right time to really help the rest of the team.
Yeah, but like I said at the beginning, coming back from break, Hanaoka gonna be map number 3 here. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about RRG to know what Nene does on tank. Because Nene, like, I mean, they just don't do it. They don't play tank. They play DPS, and they play support from time to time. And this is going to be really, really interesting, right? Like you said, this is a whole team switch up here. Wholesale swaps for RRG. What are they going to do here, and how are they going to clean it up? Because, like, if they run a clean map here, like, this is like a very, very good chance for them. And it's gonna look like they are headed to the Orisa comp, which is a very, very good shout. And Effortless on the other side, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get this Junker Queen some value, but I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it at all, right? The Junker Queen, it is, you know, a very interesting look. It allows you to play a little bit more fast and, you know, potentially could be just another strategy that is practice here, right? You're seeing some interesting things with the Junkrat as well in play. Meanwhile, RRG going for a much more standard-looking comp. The only thing out of place is really going to be that Reaper Venture as the DPS line here. But, you know, Reaper can absolutely chunk down a tank once you get in range. And Venture, you know, that disruption can be a factor.
They know this Reaper is out on coast side, going to be able to dissuade the push from Nonak for a little bit longer. Knife gonna find their target and some bleed damage into Kuzer, followed up on there by Phage. And now the fight gets really interesting without Kuzer. That's a lot of healing gone for the side of RRG. Angelo gets the cleanse, stays alive for way longer than they have any right doing, but does go down eventually in the end. A 1-for-1 trade here. Not going to pop out of the ground and try to jump on this backline, and it will be good enough to more than likely lock up this point for RRG.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing about these Clash maps, right? You never can really tell when a fight is over, but it seems like this one has been decided. We will be heading over towards point D for our next one here. Effortless, you know, maybe having to punish these flankers a little bit more once again, and you see that, but already the Venture's gone.
Yeah, Voltage just absolutely ripped apart, but still, if Effortless decide to disengage this, they could take another fight comfortably. Knife going to be put into Nene, but the rest will disengage just a little bit more, and unfortunately, Nene is just absolutely locking it in with the spears. Hasn't missed very many.
I was going to say, that's a caster curse if I've ever seen it here. But again, just the momentum and aggression that RRG has right now, right? You're seeing these two members be able to hold forward while the point's being capped behind. It is putting Effortless in such an awkward position where they can't even fight for the objective. They're having to fight just for space in their own spawn.
Not quite able to find much value there. Gets forced to use the Wraith, but stays alive in the end. Has the Wraith form ready, or rather the Death Blossom ready to go here should they choose to rip it. Mac able to escape very, very low for a moment, but now the ultimates are being built up very, very close from either side. TP gonna come through. Do they know? They don't, but they escape. Nonag 15 HP. The Wraith form gonna come through. The jump onto Solaire is there, and even though Phage is able to find the headshot onto Nonag, it will not matter, except I guess Phage has decided that this is their time to shine.
Yeah, but I mean, you're already giving up, what is this? There's going to be 1-2 ticks, so now RRG just needs one single tick to win the map out. I mean, Effortless has to be flawless from this point forward.
Alright, here we go. I mean, it will be a wholesale disengage here for Effortless Academy as they head back towards Objective B. I guess we'll just head. They don't want to give it up. They want this last tick. It goes very, very slowly for the team coming out of spawn, and the Hinder going to go through onto Mac, but the shot's not going to connect as Tectonic Shock will. It's a little bit easier to land those than the headshots of the Cassidy, and that should do it. That Rampage hits 3 players. If they could find this, they have the commanding shout. You got to use the commanding shout. They will use it eventually. Waterbug does fall as Phage returns from spawn with the Deadeye, but it was expensive, and they're still down 3 points now.
I was going to say, this recontest for RRG was more about that ult bank, right? They knew the side of Effortless had every tool in the bank, and they just made them expend 4 of them in their own spawn. Now, the Tectonic Shock, the only ult for either squad here, which means Voltage has a lot of power in their hand, because right now, again, Effortless, they can't afford another slip. They can't drop another point, because RRG just needs one to take the map.
Alright, Tectonic Shock is out from Voltage. Not going to find any connections, but will be able to follow up on the damage on it to Nene. And now with that, those kills going in the way of Effortless. You got to get back on the point, guys.
Yeah, you got to get back towards the objective here. Remember, we talked about that point pressure early on in the series. They can't let that one slip here. You're seeing now Mac potentially trying to come in for a recontest here. Getting so aggressive with this venture for seemingly no reason, but they're there.
The rest of RRG will be in. Mac goes down here. So numbers advantage still in the favor of Effortless, unless Angelo goes down, pulled right back in with the Terra Surge, but just allow them to walk out of its radius. Voltage the next to fall, though, so they do not have the Venture, which is so much of their damage gone. And I mean, Angelo able to rotate around into the backline of RRG, has the Rampage, but probably shouldn't use it here unless they really, really want it. And as Nene goes down, they will not need it, as this point should be going towards Effortless.
And again, like RRG, they seem so anxious to try to end the map early, and it's costing them, right? They're going into these fights, they're investing when they're already down, when they could be setting themselves up for better situations, better fights, and it's allowing Effortless to make this crawl back. Because, for example, they're still touching, they're still trying to commit to this.
And as Waterbug goes down, like, it should be over right now. but they don't want to let it go. And I mean, I guess it forces out 2 ultimates. So ultimately, RRG still get value out of taking that fight.
I mean, yeah, now they get value because those 2 ultimates were invested, but they're going to trade those ultimates for positioning, right? Effortless, while waiting for this point to unlock, they're going to get to be able to take control of the high ground, make sure that no flankers are going to be behind them because they've cleared it all out already. They have all the space and everything else to work with right now. RRG, meanwhile, is going to have to be the ones who come in, they apply that pressure, and they look for the opening here. It's not the situation you ever want to be in.
Venture and Tracer in the backline right now for RRG, but they see where Mac is at right now. Gonna pop out of the dirt comes Voltage, and I mean, Mac just absolutely denied the tectonic shock. That timer going to fade away here as Kuzer drops the orbital ray, but Nene is anteed up by the Rampage, and the ultimates are coming out from either side, but it's still Effortless Academy losing out on numbers. They get rid of Phage, and what should have been an easy fight for Effortless Academy finds RRG in control. Angelo goes back down after the retouch, but it's all up to Voltage here, who has to get back into the ground to contest.
Yeah, but I mean, this contest can only last for so long here. Now you're trying to get members back in, but you do have that Kitsune.
Hobbs does fall, but there is a Kitsune rush in. Nonag very low. Not going to be able to find a connection with the Pulse Bomb, but this Kitsune rush allows Voltage to stay in this fight comfortably. They're going to have the people coming back. They need to drop somebody, but the deaths keep rolling through for Effortless Academy. Voltage drops back into the dirt, but this Terra Surge going to be very, very annoying, and it's going to be the dagger in this map, as any touches now will just be desperation for Effortless.
Desperation indeed here, as it seems like RRG, they're ready to lock it up. It's just the last second Tracer touches.
They need to keep it going, but they can't get back on, unfortunately, and RRG going to be able to hold on to take care of Hanaoka. So it was cleaner, for sure. I do, like, for as fun and interesting as Piercing was on the Reinhardt, I think Nene is the right choice if they're going to be playing this Orisa comp. Because they just look cleaner. They look way more consistent on this Orisa composition.
Absolutely. They look like they have it down to a T, and they know exactly what they want to do here, which is amazing for them, being able to get through and just do as they need throughout this map. But you know, with that cleaner look, right, we did see those moments of weakness, right? They got too greedy, too hungry for it, and that's where, again, Effortless Academy was able to find those holes in the armor, start punching back, but it just, you know, it was just too much momentum built up. That clash mode, it's so brutal when you find yourself that far behind, and now Effortless, they find themselves, again, in another situation where it's do or die. They have to win, otherwise this series is going to go the way of RRG.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting as we continue on. Gonna look at our maps. Our next map is going to be Esperanza. I struggle to believe that we see anything but the Orisa at this point, especially because we know that Nene is remaining on tank for RRG. My question is, what is Effortless going to do? We've seen Angelo play several pretty good tank picks in the Junker Queen, the Diva, you know, occasionally on the Orisa. I think that we see the Diva more than likely coming out from Angelo.
Yeah, I mean, especially here on Esperanza, right, you can play the dive a little bit, you have these high grounds to sort of work with, and it's a great way to punish the Orisa potentially here. But, you know, with RRG locking in it a little bit more, getting a little bit more serious with their hero picks, right, it is going to require, you know, a bit more of a step up across the board, right? You can't just rely on your tank player to create that space for you. Once that space is created, you know, your DPS do have to start coming up with those limbs, you know, Voltage, especially if you're going back towards the Pharah, that bread and butter. You got to be looking to find out these supports. That's probably going to be your easiest pick to land these rockets on.
All right, well, this will be very, very interesting, as it's going to be a Doomfist versus a Ramatra, a matchup we have not seen tonight. So very, very interesting as Nene gets set up on the high ground of Effortless Academy. They're coming up a little bit faster, so they can get set up a little bit faster. Waiting for Effortless to figure out where they want to go. I guess we're gonna get a pause.
That's heat.
Not much to talk about there. That happened
Yeah,
pretty
no,
early.
I mean, it was just RRG. You saw them taking positioning, getting a little bit far forward. And that's sort of what their composition has to do, right? When you're on that Doomfist Sombra, especially with Sombra's rework, it's very all in. You have to be there. You have to be ready to commit with your Sombra because she doesn't have the same escape tools that she did before. So I like that from RRG, but how Effortless is going to respond is going to be the main question of how this is going to go, right? Because finding out the Sombra is one thing, sure, punish it, whatever you have to do, but that Doomfist, if it's able to get value, get constant slams onto your team, generate those overshields, get that extra health flowing, that's where Doomfist becomes a real problem character. When there's just too much health for you to chunk through, even with any form of CC you have, which I don't believe that a comp was boasting any even at the time, it's just going to be that much more difficult here. So Effortless, it'll be interesting to see how they adapt.
Plan there. No, for a moment for Nene. Point has unlocked. As I'm not really. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Paige. As Paige's been clicking heads all match long, so a great early pick there, getting rid of the Juno of RRG, and it'll be Effortless Academy beginning their push here early on. But Nene is actually able to even up the score with a pick there on it to 2 actually, and the Doomfist, yeah, like you said, kind of being annoying.
The Doomfist absolutely more than annoying here, but also no nag. I mean, look at this, right? When your Tracer can go into the backline causing this much havoc, it really just sort of can be the extra thorn that you need in Effortless' side where they don't know what to do and they get overwhelmed.
And Angelo hacked up there, unfortunately. That health pool ripped through a big punch from Nene. Didn't quite see that, but it'll be good enough to force Effortless back into their own spawn to regroup and send Angelo to the Diva.
And that Diva, again, it's just you're a little bit overwhelmed. You want to be everywhere at once, and you can't do it on the Ramatra. So you go over to the Diva. I like this pathing, right? You don't fight in these little side rooms where you know the Doomfist is going to find value. Start taking control in main, and then push out from here, right? Get towards the bot. I love this pathing from Effortless, but they actually have to do something with it now.
Effortless going to, halt the push for a moment. A little bit of extra damage there with the hack onto the Diva. Angelo getting low, gets the cleanse, but they just rip through the health of that mech, and Angelo's going to fall here. Great punches from Nene, who's just absolutely come out swinging.
Exactly, and I mean, again, it's all about momentum with RRG's comp, right? They all want to go forward, they all want to be in and be this aggressive setup here while the backline really just sort of protects each other. Some punches into walls for Celebration, maybe a little bit too early of a Celebration as Voltage now lurking in the backline. I don't think they're aware the Vara is here.
Well, they're able to call out Mac there. No-Nag with a pulse bomb ready to go. May not even need it here. The healing gonna come through, so going to be able to find that as they continue to put out some damage. No-Nag does not have the recall, but they cannot find the shots, and No-Nag going to escape. For a moment, I think. Maybe. Possibly. Okay. Parkour.
The map geometry in your favor here, as now RRG, they take a slight reset. The bot now back in the middle here. Effortless is going to have to make an active effort to start pushing it. Meanwhile, again, look, you have these flankers in your backline. There's a lot for the side of Effortless to look at here. They have to decide on which direction they need to focus on and go.
Well, Ash going to be able to get away. Mac with the EMP ready to go. Pops out of the invis, going to look for the spawn camp. A man of my own heart, if I do say so. The EMP is out, and they're going to be able to dispatch of Hobbs fairly easily.
I mean, that spawn camp EMP, you question it, and I question that for Raj even further. That might be something you want back.
Yeah, I mean, No-Nag will end up going down here, so this is very winnable here for Effortless Academy, especially as Nene is chased down. Hobbs is hacked again, but cleansed, and Mac will end up going down there. So Effortless will finally be able to break through because felt like RRG got a little too comfortable.
Definitely a little too comfortable here, so now this will start the bot progress for the side of Effortless here. They did have to expend some ults to do it, so now they're just working with the Kitsune Rush as well as the bomb, but they don't need the bomb to remove the Juno.
Yeah, Cruiser falls first again there. Unfortunately, Mac, no translocator in sight. And now Effortless are finding their own momentum here.
Yeah, and they're going to try to keep this momentum going. They want this pick on the Doomfist, but it seems like the Brigitte will be there in time. Angelo, realizing they may have overstayed their welcome now, just going to back out. But this is going to be forward spawns now enabled for the side of Effortless, so they're going to be able to keep this momentum rolling.
Nene has no cooldowns, and Voltage will be able to chase down the Doomfist. Great job there, not letting Nene overwhelm or grab that Mega Health Pack, and now Effortless are very, very close to grabbing the lead here, especially with that pick on a Mac.
It just, again, their momentum is rolling in their favor.
Yeah, we're going to see the Orbital Ray come down from Kuzer, as well as the Meteor Strike from Nene, who's going to pop down with the Empowered Punch. Lead not surrendered yet by RRG. Hack there onto the Diva, will be able to dispatch of the mech, but want to get back in with the help of the self-destruct, and will avoid the punch of Nene, and not even fearing the empowered punch of the Doomfist as Mac falls to Nene. No cooldowns in the backline. Effortless Academy move ahead.
They take the lead here, and again, it's about punishing RRG. Their hubris is getting to them once again here, and now RRG makes that swap off the Doomfist over to the Orisa. This is their signal that playtime should be over here. But, you know, it's one of those things where it might be too little too late. Effortless already has a read. They're cycling the ults properly once again here, and they have all the momentum behind them.
All right, well, Voltage chased down there by Mac, unfortunately, for Effortless Academy. Kitsune Rush had been invested, as we saw Waterbug also popping the rally there. Both will fade away, but with Hobbs going down, there's not going to be much of an opportunity for Effortless as they just try to get out alive if they can.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely what they're going to be trying to do here, just living. Because, again, you just built a 30-meter lead, right? You play your cards right, that's 2 different fights you're going to be able to take here for the side of Effortless. You also probably just got everybody back on those forward respawns, so nobody else should be staggered out, left alone here. And it's going to allow for a quick and early re-engage before RRG can worry about the lead.
But Angelo just gets a little too aggressive, goes down. They have the Orbital Ray to help if they get the value out of it. EMP also in the hands of Mac right now, who's just under a lot of pressure, gets away, gets back into Invis, and the Orbital Ray does not end up helping, and RRG very, very close to taking the lead right back.
Yep, and now it's going to be rolling forward here. It's going to be, again, whether they're aware these players are behind, the Ash is making a lot of noise, though, and this might have given them away.
I mean, Hobbs just absolutely ripped apart there. About 20 meters separates these two teams as Bob is thrown in. No hack allowed on it to Phage, but under a lot of pressure, pops the Sombra with the dynamite there. That Orbital Ray continues to push backwards as Nonag very, very low. 10 HP. Voltage just needs to hit one at the feet and will do it. Has the rocket barrage in their hands, but do they even need it? They will pop it. Nene gets really close, and somehow, I'm surprised Voltage didn't end up taking themselves out with that barrage, but they get the job done regardless.
I think Voltage is surprised that Voltage didn't take themselves out there, but now Mac, I mean, listen, that would have been an EMP for generations to come here. But yeah, so now Effortless continue to hold on to their lead just barely here. Tons of tools on the side of RRG to work with, though. But if they have to overinvest, if they have to commit too much to a single fight here, it's going to keep the side of Effortless, you know, in terms of their momentum.
All right, well, they push it back far enough to cancel out the forward spawns of RRG, but Voltage caught out early, and unfortunately, that is a very, very dead Ash player there. As Effortless will just try to run away one more time. They know that they can take another fight.
I mean, yeah, they know that they can, but the question is, you know, will it be done as a full team, or will somebody have to come in late? RRG, they didn't have to invest any ultimates that we were talking about into this last fight, so now they still have every tool, everything they could ever ask to work with heading into this one here. Meanwhile, Effortless Academy is still a while away from their own.
Well, Mac TPing into the backline with that Orbital Ray. Hobbs does not know, but stays alive regardless. Rally going to come out from Waterbug. Mac caught out. Do they get rid of Mac? Very, very low. This EMP still in hand. Gonna pop it. It only hits Angelo, but the cleanse comes through. They need to deny the lead change, and they can. Very, very close is that lead changes the Kitsune Rush, and the Orbital Ray are dropped. Nonag did pop bomb, or a Bob rather, but does end up getting ripped apart, as does Nene. And now, with only 30 seconds left, RRG are down a tank. That is stressful, and the Deadeye pops Waterbug. So now, with only 20 seconds left, this is Effortless Academy's map to lose.
I mean, it is, but they're making a very interesting play. There's plenty of time to get back here. Everybody's going to have the forward spawns, but they're choosing not to move the bot here. They're going to keep it in this position, but this makes it so risky, right? You know a touch is guaranteed to come through, and that barrage gets stuck. That could be a huge tool missing now.
Yeah, Mac forced to use recall though. 100 HP in the bar. Gets the healing, but Kuzer is dead. Now Angelo with this Terra Surge could clean everything, and Nene falls! And Effortless Academy are doing everything in their power to lock this map up. Megalast, we're going to a map number 5.
Going to map 5 again. The adaptations from Effortless Academy, they're looking better and better every map we go on here. RRG, you know, they're definitely having to start sweating now, right? It's fear that's coming out. This team that you expected to come in, just BM a little bit, throw some silliness at, is taking you to task, right? And now that you've had your serious lineup in, they've not only been playing you close, they were able to come away with the win here on push. And now you have to wonder, you know, is the momentum slipped out of our hands, right? Has Effortless Academy finally realized that they can do this, and there's nothing RRG can do? Has it gone from them?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, there were very few people, I think, that thought that Effortless would be able to win this series, let alone run it this close, right? But they have. Like, I have not, you know, seen a whole lot of Effortless this season. I will admit that. But from what I've seen from map number 1 until now, it's 2 different teams. It really, really is. It feels like they've taken a whole series worth of lessons and they've applied it to the last 3 maps. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous how much better Effortless is playing compared to what happened on Busan. And now they have a real shot to put themselves on the board here for the first time this season.
Exactly. And I mean, it purely comes down to, again, they're adapting, they're getting better. Meanwhile, RRG maybe regretting trolling a little bit here. Maybe they're realizing that, again, just, you know, underestimating your opponent can lead to situations like this where, you know, these teams, they get underestimated, but they're in these tournaments for a reason. They know how to adapt, they know how to improve, and they've got everything going behind them now. But, you know, only time will tell, because Escort's going to determine everything.
Yeah, but not until we come back from a short break. But when we do come back, we will have a definitive answer for who is going to get the win here in week number 6. Will it be RRG or Effortless? Stick around to find out. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Like pork. 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 All right, welcome back, everybody.
I hope
It's
they
been
hurt
an
you
interesting match. It's been an interesting match. What the Oinkies? They're very, very good. I've tried them. I don't know.
What do you mean
But-
you've tried them?
Nobody gets any context for this ever. But what they do have context for is that Effortless Academy is on the verge of an upset. Like, they are playing very, very well right now. RRG came into this series. It kind of felt like they thought that they just had an easy one to add to the tally. Effortless had other ideas. Like, it looked like, well, it was a deeply unserious game from the start, but it looked like RRG was just going to be able to get away with it for the entire series. But Effortless now are on the verge. One of these teams is going to win this series here on Junkertown.
Exactly. And I mean, Effortless, their adaptations, they're willing to punish RRG's aggression, this sort of silliness. Like you said, if you're just tuning in now, you've missed a very interesting game where RRG, as Fletch said, looked like they were just going to run away with it, playing some silly Rhine shenanigans, touching the spawn door, all this stuff. But they've been punished for their hubris time and again now here. And in the last map of Push, when things, I was going to say when push comes to shove, I didn't want to repeat Push, but oh well, we've repeated it. Ultimately, you had to just go in there and you had to realize that Effortless, they're the better team right now on paper, and RRG is scrambling for an answer.
Yeah, and it's something I said way, way earlier in the series. It's not like Effortless is worse mechanically. They were just not playing as a team. Now they are. They're learning, growing, overcoming what would have been like what has been a tough, hard-fought game for them, right? And they're overcoming. And for RRG now, coming into this series, they were 2-3. This has not been what they expected at all, right? Regardless of the outcome, for what they thought this was going to be, this is way too damn close. So they obviously need to phone it in. Questionable, because there is a substitution coming in for RRG. Can anybody guess who it is?
It's piercing. It's like the Reinhardt, like the "I have been called" gif got played in the Discord. It's like the Batman signal to signal Piercing to return to the field here. Putting Nene back on support. I don't know about that. Like, it's one of those things where you're making this adaptation, now, and maybe, you see some value, you see where this is going to come in. But if Piercing's going to play the same exact way as before, Effortless Academies, they're just looking at this like, I mean, okay, I'm more than happy to see this again because we know how to punish it. We know how to deal with it now, as they've proven back on Eichenwald. So, especially for a map like Junkertown, I don't know if the Reinhardt's going to be the hero to go with, so we'll have to see just how deep Piercing's hero pool goes.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see I don't think we're going to see the Orisa, but other than that, maybe a Sigma? I think that wishing for anything else from Piercing is probably a pipe dream, but it's hard, right? It's going to be very, very interesting as we head into Junkertown here. We will get our answers and, what are the plans coming in here? Because, you see Phage on the Widowmaker. This is a very, very strong Widowmaker map as well. A lot of pretty heavy sightlines, especially here early on. And Piercing actually is on the Sigma. So it will be a Sigma mirror for these two teams in a matchup that we haven't seen all night.
It will be interesting here. Still one of the prevalent Sigma maps in the game. No Nag on the defense hasn't selected a character yet. Okay, there it comes to at the last moment, the Widowmaker. So it will be interesting to see the Widow duel as well. I expect Voltage to just go for a early TP here, potentially getting some positioning for the team. And then who knows what hero they could go over to, right? I mean, they've been playing a lot of the Pharah, but these skylines, they're so open here on Junkertown. There's going to be some kind of hit scan presence on the other side. I'm not sure if you're really ready to play that, but it could be potential that the sim is real here. Nope, they're playing Pharah.
Oh, it's fair. Okay. I mean, we've seen Phage play Widowmaker tonight, and it has looked great. But,
No Nag look better.
Okay, yeah, Nonag able to pop Phage early on, and now Effortless have got to play it safe, just get the point rolling.
Exactly, so now their positioning is going to be a thing. Oh, actually forcing that grapple out. Voltage coming in on an off angle that Nonag just simply wasn't ready for here. Now without an early pick, it could be... Okay, finally the early picks are coming.
Yeah, picks come through, Hobbs and Voltage fall, and they have an idea where Phage is at right now. But Effortless Academy, they're just going to play it safe here and wait, especially now that Mac is dead. That is a great early pick for Effortless Academy. Going to be able to force RRG back for the moment.
Forcing them back. And something we have to highlight about RRG's comp, right? With this ERE, Baptiste backline, they can do so much damage, but the Widows can too.
Yeah, Phage and Nonag find one each, but Nonag's still alive. Finding more picks, 3 for Nonag, and not a worry in sight for RRG so far this map.
I mean, Nonag on the Widowmaker. I mean, you're more than happy, more than ready for this Widow map. Now Voltage over to the Venture here, trying to potentially apply that pressure, but they're not really realizing they have too many things to look at. Again here for the side of Effortless, where they can't, focus down on any one target. There's just too many angles, too much to process.
I mean, Angelo just explodes up on the high ground, and now, everything that Effortless Academy has been building is falling over as RRG are just absolutely tearing them to shreds.
This payload is in a rough position. It can't move forward here now. I mean, this is just rough from Void, right? You see the Tracer here. You know you want to remove them, but you just can't do anything about it.
Okay, gotta back up, gotta all come out at once from this spawn room. A lot of pressure being put onto Phage, but 90 seconds on the clock. This is desperate times as Voltage is actually gonna switch over to the Sojourn here. We'll see if that hero will be the saving grace as Angelo puts a rock into the face of Piercing, cuts off the healing for a moment, has the Gravitic Flux ready to go, waiting for this accretion from Piercing, gonna throw it out. Now it's time. Pulls up their opposition. Immortality Field invested, and now with Mac going down, and this other side for Piercing being under a lot of pressure, it's going to be rough for RRG, and it will be Effortless finally breaking the hold.
They break the hold for now here, but I think what's going to be crucial moving forward in this map, right, is it's actually going to be Angelo's positioning of the Sigma Shield, right? You almost have to be able to deal with the pressure that's being put out from Piercing without dedicating the shield. That way you can solely dedicate the shield to helping your Widow in this duel, right? Nonak has just been on a tear right now, and you need to build Phage Void's confidence back a little bit so they can start hitting these shots once again.
Holding the premier angle here into the window for Effortless, but Phage is just ripped apart, caught out by Mac. Now over to the backline. Orbital Ray comes down from Solaire, but Nonag is still just clicking heads right now. This Orbital Ray has to find something, but it just is not. The health bars were low for RRG, but they stay above the water, and there's only 10 seconds left. The stick out there, Angelo goes down. It's going to have to be a very, very strong defensive performance from Effortless Academy to take this map.
RRG not playing anymore here off the back of their DPS line, really just, being these massive threats here. It's so unbelievably difficult in those Widow duels, right? Because you have to figure out how many resources you can actively dedicate to the Widow before it's a detriment to the rest of your team, right? And that's the other thing, right? When you're running this double flex backline like we saw with the Yari Baptiste, when you're dedicating those resources to the Widow like you had to, that allows these other two, typical supports to become damage dealers, really start lighting up your team. And, as a tank, it just feels overwhelming again because, you can't opt out of the Sigma duel. It's absolutely required here. Your shield needs to do so many things, and it becomes too much.
This is rough because Effortless Academy are on their last legs here.
I'd still be
Having to defend this for 4 minutes is going to be brutal, and Voltage is committing to this Pharah. It hasn't found a whole lot of value thus far, so I'm very, very interested, as it looks like they're actually going to be trying to close hold here.
I like this, right? You realize that you weren't going to be able to win in the mirror, so just go for something different, right? This spawn hold, it plays to your strengths. It allows Voltage to play the Pharah. You can get in close. You don't have to worry about a Widow if you're just simply walling off the sight lines or playing below the spawn here. It's just about keeping everybody safe and actually seeing how long this spawn hold can work.
Now the Winston in, Mac the first to fall, a bunch of damage into Piercing. A great wall actually there from Voltage as Nonag tries to find something on the off angle, but he's going to grapple right back into spawn and wait for the rest of RRG to come back out.
They're waiting, biding their time here. Meanwhile, Voltage playing this rooftop perfectly, just applying those rockets. Now, a little bit of pressure. It's going to mean the Pharah drops low.
Voltage able to get back around the corner, around the wall, behind it, stay alive for a moment. Nonag has found some space, but a wall from Phage going to deny the angle for a little bit. They see where this Baptiste is at, able to put some pot shots in. Nothing big coming out just yet. It will be a trade, but that's a trade in the favor of RRG. And as the shots keep coming through, the trades keep coming through, and this should be RRG able to take this fight.
They're taking this fight, and now they're with the spawn hold broken. You have to question how much you still commit to this. If you are the side of Effortless, right? Do you try to hold out for a male and things like that? Meanwhile, that payload, it's gonna be pushing, and Nonag has these angles you already see, just locked and loaded, ready to go.
Need to put some pressure on this Widow very, very soon. The touch has to come through, and they just can't get there.
With a Juno speed ring and all, they couldn't do it, and so. What started as a close affair, RRG, they lock it in, they realize they have to take their opponent seriously for our final map, and they do just that here on Junkertown. So incredibly close up to this point, but then just Nonag really took over the game.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy shots. And I saw their manager in the Twitch chat saying GG, RRG doesn't have a hit scan player. Like, that was ridiculous, what Nonag just put on the show that was conducted by the side of RRG. And what was a really, really close series has quite an overwhelming end, if I do say so. RRG, though, they finally say, hey, we're done messing around. We've had our fun. Piercing didn't end that time. They understood that, hey, this team is not the team I don't think there is a team that they can just absolutely int their brains out on and still end up winning, right? It's not it's not something you can just throw out there. Effortless Academy, they learned, they adapted, and the shenanigans had to stop for RRG for them to get this win.
Absolutely, and I feel like this. I really hope this is a learning experience for RRG, right? We talked about it a little bit during some of our breaks, right? Like, you know, it's one of the things to have, you know, an ego and try to have fun and play with your opponents. You know, if you truly are like a super Goliath team, right? You think names that come to mind, Beagle Bus, things like that, right? But to go in and try to BM these matches, that's how you lose maps, lose series potentially, because this one, it did come down to a wire in some of these maps, and it easily could have been a 3-1 flip the other way here. So RRG, I mean, just thank your lucky stars you had those opportunities and you could lock in time, but, you know, take this as a lesson. Not everything is free and for granted here.
Yeah, but for now, I think we're gonna maybe have an interview, maybe, I think, probably. Yes, no, can I get an ethereal voice in my head saying something? No? Okay, well, we are going to cut it to a break, and if we have an interview, we'll be back. We don't really know. So stick around for at least a couple of minutes, and we'll let y'all know.
So anyway,
Bye, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody. And now for the interview, we have Piercing of RRG. Very, very close affair there, Piercing. How y'all feeling?
Oh yeah, we're feeling great after that one. You know, it was a real close game. I think they kind of had us figured out, man. Like we were pretty stumped there at the beginning, but I think we pulled together in the end. You know, we were trying some different comps. You know, we were kind of trying to experiment a tiny bit, but I think in the end we kind of we played what we were good at and we won. I think Nonag put us on the back on the last map, and we trusted that guy to win for us.
Okay. While I love the formality you're trying to come into this, let's cut to the meat and potatoes, shall we? Y'all very clearly were trying to do some BM maneuvers, going in, pinning, touching the spawn door. Several pins from you that both me and Fletch lost for words will be the term I use here. I understand having that confidence behind you and stuff, but do you feel like it bit you in the butt in this one, or do you feel like you had it under control the whole time, even with the maps you were losing?
I mean, hey man, that's just how I play in ranked, so it transfers over pretty well if you touch the spawn. A lot of people don't know that, but if you play Ryan and you play really close to the spawn, it's a lot more helpful than, you know, not doing that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's more than fair. Well, I mean, with this, you guys move up to a 3-3 record. You're still I believe on the outside door looking in for that top 4 for the end of season. Do you guys think with, you know, whatever your remaining matches may be, do you think you can get there, or are you just sort of playing it out week by week and seeing what happens?
We're definitely taking it week by week. We're still growing a lot as a team. I think we're still, you know, trying to find the meta for ourselves. We haven't fully found our stride yet. We haven't fully found a team composition or a lineup that we're entirely comfortable with. We're still kind of min-maxing things and trying new things out. So hopefully that'll get better as the season goes on, but we haven't been the most comfortable on the Orisa meta. That's why we have been kind of experimenting with different comps. So we'll see how it goes later on for us.
All right, well, I don't know what to ask here. This match was such a smorgasbord in my brain. It kind of all is the same at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, close this book tonight. Piercing, is there anything else that, you know, you want to bring up? Any shout outs? Maybe something that, you know, Megalast didn't bring up?
No, just shout out to our coach Puddles. He's a really cool dude. Hope he gets back to the U.S. safe. And that's it.
All right, well, congrats, and, you know, best of luck in the rest of the season, Piercing.
Thanks, guys.
And now, Megalast, that'll do it for us tonight. Pretty underwhelming end to it. What was actually a really interesting game. I don't want to say good, because you know, when I think of Overwatch, I think there's two extremes, right? Where both teams are playing the game at the peak levels of the compositions and absolutely just trading blows. And then there's what we saw tonight. Where we have no idea what's happening. If I don't know where I'm going, they don't know where I'm going. That was kind of the idea that I got from this match tonight. It could be fun from time to time, right? It's a little bit hard to follow, but it was definitely an interesting watch. But we're gonna bring it to a close here. We're finally gonna be able to take a breath. Is there anything else you want to bring up before we head out tonight?
No, I mean, just, you know, general stuff. CGL action, it's still happening. We've still got more Season 14 coming your way. I believe we have 2 games scheduled for tomorrow. Don't quote me on that, but that will be fun. Of course, we have to thank our lovely producer, Echo, putting this one on for us, and Headrammer, you know, the man himself running it all in terms of observing, so that is fun. Getting some really cool angles and stuff. Considering how hard solo observing is, like, Headrammer really does deserve a shout out. We got some very good angles and things of that nature. But other than that, really, that's all there is to say tonight.
Yeah. So a very, very close game here, but RRG ultimately comes out on the top of Effortless Academy 3-2. Megalas, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all tomorrow.